Drop is the key. You got one? Did you not have one before? Oh, okay. I didn't realize. Do 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 la do do la do do. Hey, you want to get the lights? Huh? I think you can do it now. Yeah. It's enough light. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jazz Lounge. Who's here for the first time? Wow. Quite a few. Who's been here before? Few of you, yes. Well, welcome. It's going to be a fun night. We're going to have a fun night of music, but just for those of you who are here for the first time, we hit our 2-year mark July 1st of being here. So it's been a little over 2 years. And we're still going, so we'll see what happens. You take 1 year at a time, one day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month, 1 year, You just keep going. But we've had some exciting shows, some very exciting shows this year. One, I like to be creative, and so I thought, okay, I'm going to put together a series of 10 concerts featuring 10 prominent jazz albums and different albums, actually 10 jazz labels, and then albums that kind of made that label. So this is actually number 10 in the series, and the last one we did was Blue Note, and most people know Blue Note. Even if you don't know a lot of jazz, you know Blue Note. You know that name. You also know Columbia, but not everybody knows Columbia from jazz. They know it from commercial. Columbia, does Columbia now own like everything? Is it Columbia? Or is it Universal? Columbia. Yeah. It got to the point where Columbia was like owning everything. But Columbia, historically, even over Blue Note, has sold more jazz records. Some historical. We'll as we play tunes, we'll talk about some of those records. Probably many or most that you've heard of or known that were significant. In fact, the last 3 tunes we're gonna finish with tonight are from somebody that it's probably is the guy who really made Columbia in the terms of jazz. So so we're gonna get started right there on the saxophone though. That's Danny Gonzalez. On the piano, Carter Key. On the bass, I remember you were like a kid, teenager. Yeah, Julian Esparza. And my name is Leonard Patton. I'm the drummer, and tonight, I'll also be singing on a few. For those who haven't been here, we do have drums here a lot, but we also do this kind of, scaled down thing, which is nice too. So hope you enjoy what we have to offer from Columbia Records. We got more people coming in. Good. I was trying to stall for table 18. Maybe is that table 18? I don't want table 18 to miss out on the opportunity, but I think we can't wait on table 18 any longer. I think we just gotta do our thing, right? All right. You guys ready? Hold on. Hold on. They're not waiting on table 18, they're waiting on me. Every honeybee fills with jealousy when they see you out with me. I don't blame them, goodness knows. Honeysuckle rose. When you're passing by, flowers droop inside, and I know the reason why. You're much sweeter, goodness knows. Honeysuckle rose. Don't buy sugar, you just have to touch my cup. You're my sugar. It's sweet when you stir it up. When I'm taking sips from your tasty lips, seems the honey fairly drips. Your confection, goodness knows. Honeysuckle rose. Just have to touch my cup. You're my sugar. It's sweet when you stir it up. When I'm taking sips from your tasty lips, it seems the honey barely drips. Your confection, goodness knows, honeysuckle rose. Oh, your confection, goodness knows. Your confection, goodness knows. Your confection, goodness knows. Honeysuckle rose. Thank you. Honeysuckle Rose. Anybody know that song? That's a pretty, like, you're joking, right? Why would you ask me that question? So this particular song, I mean, a lot of people have done it. It's a Fats Waller tune. Anybody know Fats Waller? Okay. We got to do a Fats Waller tonight here. That'd be sick. Satchmo, Louis Armstrong, he's done a few things. He did an album called Satch Plays Fats on Columbia Records. So this particular song was on that record. So starting off with a little Satchmo on Columbia Records. Now, most jazz artists, actually even pop and rock artists, but a lot of the jazz artists have played with a lot of different labels, or they did like 5 or 6 from one label, and then they moved to a different label, and over the period of time, they've played it with a handful of different labels. So, Louis played for many years and played for multiple labels. He was almost on every single album tribute that we did, because he's played on a lot of different labels. So now, looking at my notes. Moving on. So last year in May, we did a tribute to this little vocal group called Lambert Hendricks and Ross, and it was pretty awesome. It was super fun. And so they did an album, and it was called, it was self-titled, but it was named by a critic, actually, the hottest new group in jazz. And we actually did a tribute to that particular album last year in May. And that album was also on Columbia Records. That album really is kind of catapulted vocal jazz in the sense of, group singing, trio, quartet singing. I mean, obviously, Ella and Sarah Vaughan and all these singers have been singing for a while, but this was kind of, this particular album really influenced a lot of people over the years, still to this day. So we're gonna do a tune from that album. Obviously we don't have, you actually sing. No, I'm not gonna make you sing tonight, don't worry. You are gonna sing though. You are, not tonight, but you are, we've already talked about it.
Maybe someday.
Yeah, someday soon, you will be singing. We're gonna do one of the tunes off of that album called Moanin'. Am I good? Yeah, I'm good. Come on now. Thank you. Next song. Honey, he hit the F. That's just so wonderful. How did he do that? Every morning I'm a moaning. I'm alone and crying the blues. I'm so tired of paying my dues. Every day you find me moaning. In the evening I'm a moaning. 'Cause of all the trouble I see. Life's a losing gamble to me. Every day you find me moaning. Lord, I spend many days and nights alone with my grief. And I pray, really truly pray, that someone will come and give me relief. Every morning I'm a moaning. I'm alone and crying the blues. I'm so tired of paying my dues. Every day you find me moaning. Every morning I'm a moaning. I'm alone and crying the blues. I'm so tired of paying my dues. Every day you find me moaning. In the evening I'm a moaning. Because of all the trouble I see. Life's a losing gamble to me. Every day you find me moaning. Lord, I spend many days and nights alone with my grief. And I pray, really truly pray, that someone will come and give me relief. Every morning finds me moaning. I'm alone and crying the blues. I'm so tired of paying my dues. Every day you find me moaning. Moaning. Of course, some of you have heard, a few of you have heard my funky moaning version, but I figured that today I'd just do the more traditional, because that's what Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross did. So, yeah. Yeah, many of these albums, I was talking to these guys out there, these are like, the jazz hits, because like these records were and are still huge. So now we're gonna move on to an album. Many of these albums are considered the greatest albums of all time, including this one. There's an album called from Charles Mingus. And Mingus has several albums that people will classify in that category. When you pick, among jazz critics, the top 50 albums, there's usually at least 2 Mingus albums in there, if not 3 sometimes. And this one is definitely one of those albums. So yeah, we're gonna do a tune from that. I'm not gonna sing on this. I'm just gonna play. This is Goodbye, Porky Pie Hat. Yes. Any questions? Great, just wonderful, awesome, great. Save your questions, write it down. We'll get back to you within 72 business hours. Except holidays, we're off and weekends, so yeah. Moving on to, here's an album you may have heard of before. The album's called Time Out. Yeah. Dave Brubeck. You heard of that guy before? So this album was definitely, in a lot of ways, it was quite different. One, I mean, it was, the use of different time meters. I didn't want to stress you guys out, but we could have done Blue Rondo a la Turk with Al Jarreau's lyrics on that. You've heard Al Jarreau's version of that? Oh my God, it's killing. Yeah. Running, and he did it fast. Running, melody, running. Anyway, Blue Rondo a la Turk. We're not doing that tune. Oh man, I thought you were gonna play that tune. It's the only way I'm here. So we're gonna do a tune from that album. Speaking of Al Jarreau, we're gonna do Al Jarreau's version, more or less, of Take 5. Al Jarreau is one of my heroes, and we've done a couple Al Jarreau tributes here. We did the one earlier this year, and we did this version of Take 5 when they modulate up. So we're gonna so I'll cue the modulations. Am I
coming back down, or are we just going?
We'll see. They go up 2, right, or up 3?
I think just 2.
They go up 2, and they go down 1, and they go down another back to the original. Okay, we'll see if that happens.
You'll see.
So here we go.
We will see.
We're deep first.
Check with him, not me.
Take a little time out with me. Just take 5, just take 5. Stop your busy day and take your time out to see I'm alive, I'm alive. Though I'm going out of my way just so I can pass by. You say, not a single word you would say. It's a pantomime and not a play. Till I know your eyes off of me. I feel things down to my feet. When you smile, it's much to the screen. Tell me on my way. Would have been better not to be so polite. Offer a line, offer a line. Start a little conversation now, it's alright. Just stay 5, just stay 5. Won't you take a little time out with me? Just take 5, just take 5. Stop your busy day and take your time out to see I'm alive, I'm alive. Though I'm going out of my way just so I can pass by. You say, not a single word do we say. It's a pantomime and not a play. Till I know where it's off of me. I put tingles down to my feet. When your smile is too much to speak, turn me on my way. Wouldn't it be better not to be so polite? You can offer a lie, just stay fine. Start a little conversation now, it's alright. Just stay fine, just stay fine. That's a shift. That's all right. Stay there. Stay there. It's over there. He missed a sign. Won't you stop and take a little time out with me? Just stay fine, just stay fine. Stop your busy day and take the time out to see I'm alive, I'm alive. Though I'm going out of the way just so I can pass by, you say. Not a single word do we say. It's the pantomime and not a play. Till I know our eyes off to me. I can think it's down to my feet. When your smile is much too discreet, turn me on my way. Wouldn't it be better not to be so live? Offer a light, offer a light. Start a little conversation now, it's alright. Just stay fine, just stay fine. Yeah, I gotta like sing in 5 and play this in 5. It's not an easy thing. Not an easy thing. If you've ever heard Alger, I mean, it's like 10 minutes long. It's crazy. It's so good. It's so good. That's Time Out. Moving on. These are all the hits, man. These are like the jazz hits. Like, it's time to move on to. Is this the actual order? I guess so. We're moving on to Miles Davis. But we'll be moving. We'll do some Miles, do another tune. We'll be back to Miles. I'll talk a lot more about Miles later. But he did this album called Roundabout Midnight, and which was on Columbia. But here's the thing: it's kind of unfair to just pick, a couple albums from Columbia, which we are doing, because he basically recorded on Columbia from the late 50s all the way into the 70s. And I don't know if he, like mid 70s, I don't know if he left Columbia and came back, because I think even in the 80s he did a couple Columbia. So Miles Davis pretty much owns Columbia, or owned Columbia. So we'll talk more about that, but this is an amazing tune. Definitely, as far as jazz standards go, this is about as good as it gets. This is Round Midnight.
You start. Want me to start it? Yeah, that's fine. That's right.
Thank you. Of course, that was written by Thelonious Monk and covered by many. One of my favorite versions, I have a lot of favorite versions of that tune, but one of them is by Bobby McFerrin. He does an amazing version of that. The way his melody and when he goes, don't get me started. Don't get me started. Yeah, it's like, go, get started. Speaking of Monk, Monk did, I believe, 6 albums with Columbia, and this particular album was his 6th and final album with Columbia. I forget which label he went to after Columbia, but he did 6 great albums with Columbia. This particular album is called Straight No Chaser, and we're gonna do the tune Straight No Chaser. Shake it, not stirred. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes, indeed. All right. We got 3 tunes left. It's all from the same artist, from the same album. And this album is Kind of Blue by Miles Davis. Now, we just said we don't have a trumpeter tonight, but it's okay because every jazz musician has played all these tunes. You know, there's guitar versions and there's vocal versions and there's, you know, versions of every instrument. But some of you know, some of you don't know, but Kind of Blue is the biggest selling jazz album of all time. To this day, it's the biggest selling jazz album. I remember like when I used to, remember Tower Records? Gosh, I miss those days. Midnight, 1 o'clock, Tower Records, going through, buying a, oh my gosh. And you go in like the jazz section, and if first of all, if you went to the Miles section, there wasn't a whole lot there because people would buy them. Like if it was there, you'd buy it. So you would never find Kind of Blue or any of those 60s quintet albums, like hardly ever, because the moment they put them there, people would just buy them up. And I miss those days. But I pulled up this list. So talking about Miles Davis and Columbia. Now he didn't only record for Columbia, but he recorded a lot of albums from Columbia. So the first album, come on, this is my slow iPad. I have like 4 iPads in this room, and this is the lyric iPad, I call it.
I do the same thing.
Right? It's like it's the one that's just for lyrics.
All I can handle.
So, other than there was one that was International Jazz Fest in like 1949 ish, but aside from that, it's really his first official Columbia record album was Roundabout Midnight. But I'm not going to say all this whole list, but you have Roundabout Midnight, Circling Around, Miles Ahead, Milestones, at Newport, 1958, Porgy and Bess, Kind of Blue, Sketches of Spain, Someday My Prince Will Come, blah, blah, blah. I'm skipping some. At Carnegie Hall, 7 Steps to Heaven, My Funny Valentine, 4 More, Miles in Tokyo, Miles in Berlin, ESP, Miles, Sorcerer, Nefertiti, Miles in the Sky, Water Babies, Fields to Kilimanjaro, In a Silent Way, Bitches Brew, on and on and on and on. And yeah, so basically to 1975, and then he had a handful of albums that he did in the 80s that were with Columbia. So he made Columbia a lot of money. And that's weird, jazz artists made a lot of money, but he's Miles Davis. Miles Davis is the artist. In fact, I think in 1971, I don't know if this has been broken, but he did a concert. It was the largest attended jazz concert and there was like something like 500,000 people or something crazy like that in the 100,000s. Maybe it was 300,000, but it was that crazy. That's how big of an icon Miles Davis is, and his kind of blue record, of course. It's a lot of people talk about why it is what it is. Part of it is just I think the clarity of the recording is the recording technique that they use on the album. You can put it on your card. It's like you hear everything. Everything's just so clear. But just the whole concept of that album, what they did it's just quite magical. So we're gonna finish up doing a few songs from that album. But we were talking in the back, you can literally just do. You can break off into sections of Miles Davis on Columbia alone, let alone who other labels he recorded on first. But before we do that, let me tell you what we're not doing tonight. A couple things we're not doing. We're not doing Herbie Hancock's Headhunters, which was on Columbia, which is an iconic album. One of the reasons why, because in October we're actually doing a 3-night tribute to Herbie Hancock and Headhunters. That album, if most of you have heard that album or know that album, it's iconic in so many different ways. It influenced a lot of different things, a lot of different people. Also, we're not doing Heavy Weather. Oh, yeah. Yes, Weather Report. One of that album is it's a great album. Sometime early next year, there'll be a Weather Report tribute here. So we'll save that. Plus some of those you gotta work through some of those tunes. You can't just pull up. You can't just let's play Birdland. Oh, can we rehearse? Yeah, you gotta keep. Yeah, the next section. Okay, so anyway, there's a lots of other great albums from Columbia that we could have done. We could have picked. You can do multiple Columbia tributes and hit a lot of amazing albums, but just picking the ones we did tonight kind of gives you an idea of the magnitude of this label and what they did and what they had to offer. So, is it Blue and Green first? All right. This particular song is written by Bill Evans, the great pianist who played with Miles and led his own trio and is one of the most influential jazz pianists ever. And so we're gonna play a little Blue and Green. All right. Before we play these last couple tunes, I don't know what's going on with my mic stand. I've been adjusting it all night. It'll move on its own. Trust me. Let me tell you a few things about what's coming up before we play the last two tunes, because take a break and just we'll play these. We'll finish with Kind of Blue, but so this month is all about Stevie Wonder. So this Sunday is a jam led by Kat Shoemaker. If you haven't never heard her, she's a great pianist and a singer too. She leads a jam session here every second Sunday. Thank you. I had every second Sunday, and her. If you've never been to a jam session or one of our jams, it's great. They play a concert set for 45 minutes or so, and then after that, people come up and sit in. Lots of great musicians. And the unique thing about her jams is they're always themed. So she did after Wayne Shorter passed away, we did a Wayne Shorter themed one where all the people they played Wayne Shorter tunes, and all the people who sat in had to play a Wayne Shorter composition. Did a Horace Silver, what else? Yeah, and Benny Golson, yeah. So this one will be the music of Stevie Wonder and Duke Ellington. So it's also, I think there's 7 or 8 seats left Sunday for that one. So it's gonna be fun times. Then that's just the beginning of the Stevie Wonder fun, because this month is the 50th anniversary of one of the most iconic albums of all time. We're talking about Intervisions. Yes. Whew. Don't even get me started. You already got me started. We are doing 8 shows, August 16th through 19th, the 23rd through 29th. Wait, 23 through 26, I can't count. Yeah, 23rd. So that's Wednesday through Saturday, and Wednesday through Saturday. The 23rd is my birthday. Hey. And we're doing, 8 shows, concerts, a tribute to that album. Lots of great musicians, Matt Falker, and a couple different, one band one first week and a different band the next week. Matt Falker on keys, and Ken Dow on bass one week, Antar Martin on the second week. We have Richard Sellers on drums the first week, and Fernando Gomez. Lots of great musicians, but it's going to be a fun tribute to that album, and I think we're at least 90% sold out for all the shows. So it's a couple of them I think are already sold out. So if you want to come and get your Stevie fix, it'll be all things Stevie for 8 shows. And then at the end of the month, on the 31st, a band called the Wellsprings, and with guests Lauren Lee Martin and who's the other person? I forget. They're doing a live concert recording here, which is going to be pretty awesome. And then, let's see, September, we got a tribute to George Benson, which will be fun. And then October, we have tribute to Herbie Hancock and Headhunters. We also have a tribute to Joe Raposo and Sesame Street. Of course, because, KPBS bought one of the nights already, so one of the nights is already sold out because they bought the whole night, which is awesome. Yeah, pretty legit. Pretty legit. Friend Will Brom. Do you know Will Brom, guitarist? In LA, he's coming down doing his trio next month, he's a great guitarist. Also in October, Jonathan Kreisberg, a monster guitarist from New York City. He's bringing his trio or quartet. I don't remember. It might be quartet. But
what about your boys?
What about what? Oh, yeah.
Come on now.
I'm doing a concert with my boys September 5th. Yeah, me and my boys. So we're just rehearsing up some tunes, and we're gonna be singing the Patton Boys. So
that'll be fun. Yeah, Carter's playing on that one. Yeah,
Honorary
they're like,
Patton
man, I
for
want
tonight."
that Carter guy's good. We like Carter. Yeah. So yeah, that's it for now. Lots of fun, great stuff happening, and some surprises that I can't say yet. People coming in from out of town. I'll say when the time is right, but until then, I keep it under wraps. Yeah. So anyhow, let's finish this off with a couple more Miles Davis tunes from Kind of Blue. Once again, Danny Gonzalez on saxophone, Carter Key on piano, Julian Esparza on bass, and my name is Leonard Patton, and I'm the drummer and the vocalist tonight. You ready? Set it up. Thank you so much for being here tonight. in this full house, this packed room. These guys are amazing, and but you make it what it is by being here. So thank you so much. It's great to play this music. As you can tell from our calendar, we have a lot of different stuff, but playing music like we're playing tonight, this is really part of American history. I was thinking earlier about, albums like Kind of Blue, all the pop and rock artists of the 60s and 70s all revere this album. They love this album, and many of these other albums. It's a whole other conversation to get into about just the cross mixing of rock artists and jazz artists in the 60s and 70s. They played in the same studios, and a lot of times, you look at an album, you didn't realize that was Freddie Hubbard or Wayne Shorter playing on that record. It's like, well, I didn't know that. And yeah, sure enough, Ron Carter playing on Roberta Flack albums. So it's pretty amazing. So this is American history, and this is what taught my kids this stuff. They still listen to all the new modern stuff that's out, but they know some of this classic jazz and Motown and classic everything. So anyway, God bless you all. Be safe, and I'll see you soon. Thank you, Rebecca Collier, and the Grejos. Where are the Grejos? They're over there. Helpers for tonight. My wife was here, but she had to step out about 15 minutes ago. If you have to square up with any, I'm gonna do my wife. You okay? Yes. Okay, right on. If you have to square up with any drinks or anything, I'll do that because my wife had to leave. So I'll be over there.